Hello, everyone. Welcome to William in the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have David. David is from Australia, but he lives in Cambodia. So let's see what David has to say. Enjoy the interview.
How's that?
Yes, I can hear now.
Okay, much better. Sorry, yeah, me and my uselessness of playing on Zoom.
Hello,
I've got the
David.
fan. Hello, William. How are you? I've got the fan on above me. Is it causing issue with your audio?
No, I cannot hear anything.
Okay, great, fantastic.
So, how's your day going so far, David?
Today was good. Worked this morning. Took the afternoon off. I'm just recovering from a bit of a cold, so I sound a
Oh,
little bit nasally. Yeah, actually, the reason I've got an earphone in is because it's left my nose and gone to my ears. So if I was listening through the computer, I would not be able to hear you at all. So I've had to actually put in an earphone just to be able to hear you. But today's been good otherwise.
amazing. But you've been for a while with your cold or not? It just happened for a few days.
It's been a lingering run, actually. I got it probably about just over a week ago. The
Mhm.
first few days were pretty rough. And then it went away, and then it's just come back with this weird blocked ear situation. It's just driving me crazy because I can't hear anything. Like,
So tell me, where are you from, David?
I'm from Australia, from the state of Queensland. Didn't really have much of a hometown. We had a farm in central Queensland, but then my parents moved to North Coast. My grandparents were on the South Coast, so spent a lot of time of my childhood kind of traveling up and down the coast of Queensland, Australia.
Amazing. But I believe you are based now in Cambodia.
I am now based in Cambodia, that's correct. Yep.
And why Cambodia?
Well, that's a good question. Came here for a holiday 10 years ago with my partner at the time. And out of the whole Southeast Asia region that we loved, we really fell in love with Cambodia and the Cambodian people. There's a unique authenticity to the Cambodian people, I think, that's really unique to the region. Um, Ended up traveling the region and just saw a market in a business here that we thought, why not chuck some money at this business and see what happens? And we took a whirl on it, and here we are 9 years later.
Wow, wow. And your
Yeah.
partner is still there as well. Both of you is still there.
Well, he's now moved to Phnom Penh. We're still very good friends. We had, what did Gwyneth Paltrow call it? A conscious uncoupling. Let's call it that. We're still really, really good mates. But he's now got a cafe in the capital, Phnom Penh, and I'm running the cafe up here. So yeah, we both opened a cafe called the Little Red Fox Espresso that started
Wow.
off as like a 5-seater cafe space and is now a 3-floor cafe in the central high-end shopping district of Siem Reap.
Wow,
Yeah,
amazing. My goodness.
yeah.
And to see yourself live in Cambodia for a long while?
Living here for a while.
Yeah, do you see yourself there?
So that's a really interesting question. I love this country. It has changed, without sounding too cliche, it has changed me and changed my life in ways that we could talk for another 3 hours about. And I do love this country, and I love my team, and I love the day-to-day experience. But I'm using the terminology lately a lot that I felt that the wind's changed recently.
Mhm.
You know, they say like Mary Poppins hangs around until the wind changes.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of feel the same thing, right? Something's happened in the past 12 months where I'm like, okay, well, what is life's next big adventure for me? And what does that hold? So, you know, I've got heaps of different skills under my belt, and I'm currently working on building my team up to be much more available to do everything without me, which they're just nailing. But yeah, you know, maybe in the next 12 months, maybe I'll travel, maybe I'll pick up some jobs regionally. Who knows? Who knows?
So walk me through a little bit about your profession. What do you do? Besides you have your cafe, what do you do?
Let me roll out the list. Yeah. So I would say definitely a big chunk of my life has been running this cafe here in Siem Reap. So working in the coffee industry and hospitality industry, majorly focusing around like a Whole Foods basis. But I'm also a retired part-time hairdresser. And I'm also a trainer and a nutritionist as well.
Wow. You're a
So
busy man.
kind of,
You are You are busy man.
Yeah. So like I've got a few things that go on every single day. But I think that's what keeps life so interesting, because I can designate different times doing completely different things and you never get bored. You never get bored.
I think that's the beauty of life. It's good to be busy. I think it gets your mind in a healthy way. Like, I mean, not always crazy busy, but when you are busy, it keeps you out of trouble. It gets you
True.
creativity. You think about new ideas easily. And one thing lead to another one as well. When you are busy, just things just come across and gets you, in different ways. That's how I believe as well.
And I think it's a really beautiful thing. Because some people say to me all the time, my God, you must be so busy. Are you ever overworked or tired? And, I look at my schedule and I'm like, yeah, I am busy. But the wonderful thing that I think this country has taught me, Cambodia, is that you're as busy as you make yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think over the past, especially since COVID, I've learned how to really structure my day in a way that's incredibly productive, but also at the same time gives me space for me at the same time as well. And I think that's something that something that I didn't practice or maybe even forgot when I was back in Australia, is that, we work 9 to 5, we've got the weekend off, we know that we've got this, and we kind of get in this rut of doing the same thing every single time. And it's just doesn't keep the brain, for me, I believe it doesn't keep the brain stimulated for the chance of random opportunities coming for you. And I'm also a big believer of continuing learning and growing. So to be able to do all these different things and meet different people and learn from other people and grow with other people, that's what keeps you young inside and keeps the brain going, I think.
Absolutely. Very good. David, before we start our journey within the magic box, I would you like to tell me something interesting about yourself?
Oh, geez. Anything?
Anything.
Okay. I have a love for completely disappearing off the grid for a long period of time. So I will, without hesitation, just hop on my motorbike and go riding into the mountains for like a week or two and completely disconnect and live off the land and just enjoy being away from absolutely everything. That's just live out of a bag off the back of a motorbike. Yeah.
Can you take me one day with you?
Sure. Which part of Asia do you want to do? Yeah.
I've never been to Asia before, so for me, what would be everything brand new? Actually, just gave me an idea now. When I come to Cambodia for the first time, I'm gonna do that.
Please. I mean, this country is magnificent. There's a pocket that I really love doing, which is along the Thai border, and it's called the Cardamom Mountains, and it's the very last dense Southeast Asian rainforest in this region, the last of its kind, the last of its size. And so when people think of Cambodia, I think they have images of the war or barren fields and rice fields and the temples, of course. But this area of Cambodia, I swear to God, it's like you're in Jurassic Park. Like,
wow.
It is so beautiful. It's so regional that as you're riding through these mountains on your motorbikes and you go past these wooden houses in the middle of nowhere, you've got locals going, what the hell is this white man doing here? Like what the, yeah. So it's really magical. There's still pockets in this region that are just spectacular. And I love taking people.
Okay.
Yeah. Done deal.
You promise him to take me.
All right. You can ride a motorbike, right?
I can learn.
Oh God, okay, we'll tailor the roads that we take then.
David, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through memories in life and to share your point of views?
Let's go.
Amazing. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So this is my... Floor from the fun questions. I'm just gonna play a song now just for us to relax a bit before the first question, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. Hey David, before we start the game, during the journey, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about some reason, you don't want to answer, always can change, okay?
I'll let you know.
Amazing. First question for you is, what is the soundtrack of your life and why?
Oh my God. Okay, so this is so easy. anything done. Like at the moment, I have to say Kylie's disco album is in my life all the time. I mean, I know everyone loves Padam, and that's great, but let's put it in its box. The disco album, I don't know. You know what? Kylie's disco album is just so amazing. And disco music for me is just any kind of disco music for me is just like it is like the dewdrops of life. It's so much joy, it's so much happiness, it's so much celebratory, unabashedly dancing on the street. That's what it's all about. So I would say if we're talking about what is currently the soundtrack of my life, it would definitely probably be Kylie's new disco album, because it consistently reminds me every single day, and I am serious, I listen to it to work every single day as I'm walking to work. It just reminds me that life is here to be celebrated. We've only got so many trips around the sun. We've only got so many trips around the sun.
Is Kylie Minogue your biggest idol?
I have to admit something. So when I only fell in love with Kylie Minogue, and this is horrific as a gay Australian, I only truly fell head over heels in love with Kylie Minogue's music during COVID. I don't know why I didn't, like, she's always been around my hemisphere. I've always enjoyed her music as an Australian and growing up with her in our culture, but I don't think I ever really sat down and enjoyed it until I had that time to sit down and listen to everything. And I was like, oh, I get it. I get what my friends have been saying all of these years. So no, I haven't always listened to Kylie Minogue. But yeah, usually I'm much more of a, I would say I listen to a lot of folk music, blues and roots music, Fleet Foxes, all of that kind of really chilled, beautiful country stuff. But yeah, just lately I've started getting into a lot more Kylie stuff.
Is it interesting you saying about her new album and the music Padan? And the first time when I listened to it, I was like, it's Kylie. I like her, but I didn't get it. I didn't connect with the music straight away. Like when I was like, okay. And my friend said, oh, and I went to a bar with a friend like a few weeks or a month ago, and it was playing in the bar, in the local bar, and I was like, oh, this music, and he was like, oh, it's Kylie Minogue, I love Padam. I said, my God, I am not connected yet with the music for some reason. I don't connect. Guess what? After 1 or 2 weeks, somehow it just got in my head, and
it's an earworm, man. Like, it is such an earworm. I agree.
And suddenly, I like some of the song that I've been using to play on my thumbnails and when I post every day, and I've been using this because it's so catchy. It's a very short music. It's a short song, but it's so powerful and just makes you happy and nice, and it's a great song. So yeah,
I think that's all of her music in general. It's just there to make you feel happy and nice. One of the things I really enjoy doing in the cafe is that I've got like 2 or 3 like really straight male Cambodians, and like I love putting on Kylie or anything Kylie-esque, because these guys that don't get, and music to Cambodians is just anyone will get up and dance. It's such a wonderful culture. You put on Kylie Minogue and they are busting a groove like the queerest gay person you've seen in the gay club ever. They love it. So yeah, that's why I just think, it brings so much joy.
Amazing. Next question, David. Let's do it. Next question for you is, what is your spirit animal?
Oh, a fox, hands down, easy. I answered that in 2 seconds. Yeah, my cafe is called the Little Red Fox Espresso. Definitely a fox, 100%.
Saying that, when I was checking your profile, I could see that you are very spiritual, you are in touch with the nature, you've got this spirituality way of approaching life. You always been this way, or just when you arrived in Cambodia, it's like turn you into it?
I grew up, my grandparents were Anglican and pretty heavily Anglican. I mean, my grandmother, bless her soul, if she was still alive, if she knew I was gay, she would have put me in some kind of pray the gay away kind of a thing. And I never really gelled with the idea of structured spiritualism.
Mhm.
All for whatever. Like you can do whatever you want. I don't really mind. But that kind of concept never gelled with me. And then when I was in high school, I met a group of friends of mine who practiced paganism. And I really kind of liked the backing behind paganism. I thought that was really lovely. But again, in its own way, it was still too groupy. Like groupie's the wrong word, but that kind of a thing. And I was like, I'm someone who likes to kind of step in and out. And so the term I kind of like to use now is like animism is kind of where I put my foot into it. I believe that everything has an energy, everything has a spirit, everything has a reason. We've been going around the sun since the beginning of time. Everything has a cycle, life, death, everything. And so I think there's a lot of reverence in paying attention and celebrating that, because fundamentally at base level, we can talk about religion and that can still be a thing. But fundamentally, like these plants grow from seed and one day they will die. And that's a fact. So we celebrate that. And that's what should be celebrated, I think. That's something I pay a lot of attention to. I'm very big on watching sunsets, which maybe you've seen the ridiculous amount of sunset pictures that I post on my Instagram page. And I'm very conscious of trying to see sunrise and sunset every single day. So yeah, I would say my spiritualism would be paying attention to the cycles in life that have been there since the dawn of time and will be there to the very end of time.
What's your star sign?
I am right on the cusp of Leo and Virgo. Yeah, so I'm 22nd of August, right on the cusp.
Oh, so your birthday is soon then?
I just had it, actually.
Oh, yes. Yes, I'm lost.
You
yes,
actually contacted me on my birthday.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you did.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you like celebrating birthdays? Yours?
So I'm not against the whole age thing or birthday things whatsoever. I do like to do something small. Like this year I went for a staycation at a beautiful hotel and was lucky enough to be given the most beautiful room in this hotel by chance. It was just stunning. I would say celebrating my birthday every year, no, but I definitely think when I get to more of the, 40s, not that far away, I think I want to do something big then. But every single year, nah. If you can let me sleep in and go to bed early, happy birthday. That sounds amazing.
Next question. Right. Before the next question, when you think about Australia, what's the let's say the biggest memory that comes to your heart, to your mind, and what do you miss the most about the country?
Okay, so I think it's you're asking me. That's a very opportune time, actually. When I think about Australia, the first thing I think about, especially Queensland, I can say the friendliness of the people that are around you. Like, I love flying into the airport and I go to the same coffee shop and the woman's name's Sharon. And the first thing she says is like, "You want a flat white, love?" And you're like, "Oh, I'm home." Like, I think the camaraderie of Australians to each other is a really, really beautiful thing. Of course, we're not the most perfect country. We've got a lot of things that we need to fix as well. But the general Aussie battler spirit is a beautiful thing. But what I miss most about Australia is our country is beautiful. Our country is beautiful. And as I said, I'm a very outdoorsy kind of a person. And, where my mother lives now in North Queensland, I can walk down the road and sit on the cliffs and watch whales swim by, or drive 10 minutes inland and go on the most beautiful rainforest hikes in the mountains. So I do miss how stunningly unique and beautiful our nature is. And to just have that on my doorstep every single day is something that I really, really miss. Our country is beautiful and I wish so many people could go and enjoy it.
Which person in your family are more close to?
Oh, my mother and my sister. My mother and my sister, I would say. Yeah.
Okay. Next question for you is, what's the worst first date have you ever been on?
Okay. All right. So oh God, couldn't tell you the age, probably like 20, 21.
Okay.
Um, went on a date with this guy. I think this was when Grindr like first was around on the very first iPhone. It was a revolutionary app before we all figured out what Grindr was actually for. That one week where we were like, it's a dating app. Like,
It went very
um,
fast. We discovered very
yeah,
fast. Very, very fast.
yeah, very fast. Um, and I went on a date with a guy, and the date itself was really lovely, but his hygiene, his hygiene was, I cannot, my lord, it was body odor, it was breath, it was skin, it was oil, and
Mm.
that was something that you can deal with. But what made it worse is that he covered it up in that fragrance jupe, the green jupe. It's a body fragrance. Not necessarily the most expensive body fragrance, but like kind of like, yeah, I just went to the gym, I've showered, I'll quickly spritz it on to give myself a smell. So it was this mix of intensely awful body odor with just like half a bottle of jute mixed over the top. And this like dry heaving awful. That was probably the worst. And I'm someone to battle through awkward situations because I consider the other person. But this got to the point where I had to say to this person, I'm really sorry, you just stink and I cannot sit here anymore. Like it was awful. It was so awful. I didn't say it so awfully. I wasn't
Okay.
so straight to the point. But yeah, that was probably the worst date that I've been on.
Wow.
The worst date that I've been on.
And which one was the best that you've been on that unforgettable, that you're never gonna forget?
Oh wow. Okay.
Before Grindr, of course.
Now we're talking. What was before Grinder? Manhunt? Gaydar.com. Yeah, yeah. Oh wow. I went on, so I was probably 18 or 19, and I just started in the hairdressing industry. And I went to Hair Expo in Sydney, and I met this wonderful gentleman who shall remain nameless, because he's, someone in the hair industry. And we had a wonderful 3-day whirlwind romance, I have to say. And he wined me, he dined me. It was one of those really amazing experiences where, both consensually people know that this isn't necessarily going to be a relationship, but you clicked as two people that really wanted to enjoy each other's company. And he was just so generous and so kind and lovely, and made those 3 days really quite special. I mean, we're talking private dining experiences on the Sydney Harbour. It was just spectacular, really spectacular. Still in contact with this person. He's still a lovely, lovely man. He's now married to another guy, has adopted 2 kids. They've got a very happy family.
Wow.
Yeah, really, really, really spectacular gentleman.
When you started describing him, I thought you said, "Oh, we went on a 3-day." I thought you said you went on a threesome. It's like what?
Well, if the opportunity arose, I mean, who's to turn it down? Yeah.
I was like, okay, that was very intense the first date. We literally went the threesome straight away. I was like, wow.
I'm not going to knock it down. I'm all for experiences.
Absolutely. Not right or wrong. Everything counts. As long as everyone's happy, everyone's having a good time, why not?
That's exactly it.
Next question. Hey, David, next question is, as a child, did you have imaginary friends, and what was their name?
I think I did. You know what? I didn't have an imaginary friend. I was a big daydreamer. Like the writing was on the wall from a very early age. Like I would, put on my mum's red court shoes and pretend I was Dorothy Gale in The Wizard of Oz. I was a big daydreamer, right? So like the writing was on the wall from an early age. I think more than having a invisible friend, I would make up wonderful dream stories in my head. So like whenever there was a mess under my bed, mum would say, who did that? And I used to tell this fabricated story that pygmy cats lived under my bed and created the mess. And, that's there for them. So I was more of a dreamer, making up fantasy stories in my head and living within those fantasies. Not that anything was wrong with my life. My family just supported me being a dreamer.
And when you
See,
came out as a gay, did you have the support of your family?
totally. I mean, my mum was like, as I said, babe, you were wearing my high heels when you were a kid. The writing was on the wall. Like, I remember I didn't come out until I was quite later. I still, of course, had sex with guys, but I didn't come out with to my mother until I was like 18 years old, and that was just because I got into here more than anything. And I don't regret that because, as I said, I lived my life because I wasn't at home at that stage. But when I came out, I said to my mother at that stage, I'm actually bi. And she just laughed and she went, no, you're not. She went, you're gay. Like, just skip the bi period, head straight to gay. And I just burst out laughing. And it was just such a simple thing.
Oh,
There's a lot of my family that doesn't know. Like, I would say my grandfather is still alive. And there's a lot of that part of the family that's very conservative. And I don't care whether they found out. I mean, they have to know. They've been into my house before where I've been living with another guy and there's one bed, but it's always been, this is David's good friend.
yeah.
You know, there's one bed in the house. A good example of this is at Christmas years and years ago, we've got one half of the conservative side of the family and then the other half of the creative side of the family all together at Christmas time. And my grandfather, I'm sure, other than the gay term, you know what a poof is?
Poof?
Yeah, what you put your feet up on.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So my grandfather had one and there was no seats. And he said, oh, David, you can sit on the poof. And I went, don't mind if I do. And half of the family burst out laughing. The other half of the family didn't get it whatsoever. So it's kind of like half of the family has this don't ask, don't tell kind of a thing going on to it. But I don't care. I live my life. They can do theirs. They let me live mine.
Very good. Next question. Let's do it. As you can see, some beautiful tattoos in your body. Tell me which one, let's say, the latest one and the very first one that you had.
The very first one was probably this one here, if you can see it.
Yeah.
And the latest one were these two, I think. Yes, these two. They're called Sakyant tattoos. There's a lot of debate that they're from Thailand or that they're from Cambodia, but at the end of the day, once upon a time, this was all one grand kingdom. So I say they're more from Buddhism. It's a Sanskrit thing. They're all related in one big culture. But they come from the animistic side of Buddhism, where there's a belief behind them that they're on the body for protection, for strength, for growth. Anyone can get them done. And if you do love them, please get them done, because I know Cambodians do love sharing their culture with people. But I was lucky enough with these during COVID to actually travel a lot of Cambodia and actually get them done by some of the high Kru Khmer monks, who are the people who practice the more animistic side of Buddhism. And so getting the opportunity to sit with these really incredible men who've devoted their life to basically the witchcraft side of Buddhism and being tattooed by them and learning a lot of their lessons was, really like one of those things that I was like, I'll go to my grave remembering how special those moments were. There's one more guy I want to see, and he's in the northeastern side of the country. But he is in a section of Cambodia that's actually still closed off because they're not letting people in until probably like middle of next year. They're still blocked off because of COVID. Not that the country's got COVID, it's just that part of the country has a lot of people who still literally live in the jungle.
Oh, wow.
So they're just really controlling the in and out of populace.
And are you planning for your next tattoo?
It would be with him. It would be with him.
Right.
I do want a few more, but also at the same time, I'm kind of at that space where like, I'm happy if this is what I've got, but I would love one from him. I would really love one from him.
I'll tell you something interesting, David. When I saw your profile for the very first time, what got my attention was your tattoos. The first thing that got my attention Like, oh my God, I was checking your pictures, like, my goodness, look how amazing. And I didn't see properly the back one. It looks really beautiful, like the way
Well,
you
my
have
whole
different.
back is covered actually.
That's what I
Like,
thought. When you showed me now, I was like, wow,
hold on, I'll try and see if I can get this up a little bit. My whole back is actually covered.
oh wow,
Yeah.
beautiful. My goodness, good taste. Wow.
Well, I just think they're so beautiful. I really think they're so beautiful. And there's hundreds and thousands of them. Uh, yeah, thank you very much. I'm not someone to get awkward. I'm not someone that gets awkward at people commenting on my tattoos. I think if we wear them on our bodies,
Totally.
we have to be open for people to comment on them. But I also dearly love them, and I take care of them so, so, so well because I love them so much.
Beautiful. Next question is, what is a significant event that has changed you?
Oh, COVID. Yeah, that COVID period for sure. Yeah, absolutely for sure. You know, one thing that I say is that we all had our own battles, and that's a very important thing to say before I continue with this conversation, because all of us had our own struggles and battles in our own way. And my story does not discontinue or discredit anyone else's story. But like being in Cambodia during that time was truly unique, especially Siem Reap, because this city is built on tourism. And to see Cambodia's richest province overnight turn into Cambodia's poorest province for 2.5 years with nothing, just, it was a ghost town. The population went from like 250,000 down to something like 50,000. And it was, you know, it was incredibly hard. As a business owner, you know, we lost everything, but, you know, we also made choices over that time that the money that we have in savings should go towards the people who've worked for us from the beginning. You know, it's more important to keep their families alive and we can live, basically. So I think learning to live in a country that was suffering so horrifically from COVID, to take care of your own mental health, to take care of your own body, to find joy in not being able, you know, to find joy in a place where you're stuck when your country doesn't let you go home. You know, Australia said no to us going home. You know, it was really important to take care of oneself and take care of one's mental health. So COVID changed my life because it really put life into perspective, like what is actually genuinely important every single day.
Amazing. Wow.
And when COVID finished, sorry to quickly jump on, when COVID finished, I was one of those people who fell back into almost instantly going back to how I was behaving before COVID. And after about 3 months, I was like, what the hell am I doing? What the hell am I doing? Stop. And I just quit all of these other projects that I took on and I wasn't enjoying because I was thinking about this. I was thinking about the money. And now I've stepped back and making sure that I live every day the same way that I did during COVID. And yeah, I am so thankful for that period. I will always say that we all suffered in a huge way, but that period changed my life for the best, my business for the best. So yeah, COVID changed my life, really. A weird success story from COVID.
It's interesting saying that because it makes all sense. People they learn a new way of surviving, a new way of seeing life, a new way of approaching life, and people they became so creative. There are so many. I remember at the time people, changing things on social media and expressing themselves, working on social media, working. The Magic Box came out of that challenge journey. So
really,
yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful.
I'm so grateful again for this time as well, because I was always on the go, and suddenly, I went for a run in the park and this idea came along and I was like, oh my God, that's meant to be for me. So yeah, so that's what I believe as well.
I hope you're super proud of what you're doing as well on this platform, like just taking a moment to say, because I did a flick through and I just think it's, there is so much joy in meeting and talking with strangers. Yeah. That's why I love living here. brief random conversations with strangers are a magical thing. And
Yeah.
what you're doing is that you're having these conversations and inviting people around the world to sit at this table and listen to this conversation and meet this person on a level that, is really, really, really special. And that's what, you're doing something that humanity needs so much right now.
Yeah.
So more than ever, we need what you're doing. So thank you.
Thank you. I think I'm thankful for the whole people who, not just who participate in the show, but people who watch the show as well. And sometimes I receive beautiful message from people who never participate, and they go say so beautiful message saying that they love the concept and they connect with people as well. So yeah, I could be here another hour just talking about those moments.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
3 questions left. Let's do it. Okay, David, next question is, what was your favorite part about school?
Oh God. I hated school. I hated school. Honestly, like any gay boy, I would have said it would have been drama and art class, right? But even then, I hated it, right? Like linear learning is not for me. These days, there's schools out there where they're based like the Montessori schools and stuff like that. If I'm saying that right, there's schools that are much more based around creative learning. That is where I just would have thrived. I didn't enjoy school because I just didn't gel with how the schooling structure was built. But if I had to choose something, it probably was drama and art, because that's a subject that's non-linear, it's creative, it's self-expression, it's self-growth. So yeah, drama and art class was probably the best.
But nothing, you didn't like school because of your sexuality. It was just a matter of connection. You didn't have any
I think
connection.
it was a melting point of everything. Do you know what I
Okay.
mean? Like where I went to school was a boarding school in North Queensland, and North Queensland could be akin to like Texas. The people who went to my boarding school, oh no. So I think it was certainly a melting pot. Like I knew who I was, but I wasn't quite sure of myself at that stage. And, coming from a country family with country values, I certainly was wanting to be who I was, but we've always got that question inside of us, whether it's the right thing to do or not for our family. So I definitely think that played for a factor into it. And in those queer spaces of art and drama, we've got that ability to play upon who we truly are and feel comfortable. And so I think that's where I got the joy out of it. But yeah, also, our school had nuns and priests running the whole thing. Nah, it's just nah.
It was for you.
No, it wasn't for me. Yeah.
2 questions left. Let's do it. Before the next one, tell me a little bit about your career as a hairdresser.
Oh, okay. So, how I got into hairdressing in the beginning is I actually went to university and studied hospitality management because I wanted to get into a space where I could chat with people. And so when I actually graduated, I ended up getting a job in quite a high-end hotel. And after about 4 months, I was like, this isn't quite what I thought it was going to be. Like, sir, madam, da-da-da-da. And I hated it. So I ended up going to the very small country town that my parents lived in at that stage. And I got a job as an apprentice hairdresser, and I loved it. I loved the ability to chat with strangers, to talk about, there's a cliche with hairdressers where they're like, how's your day? What are you doing this weekend? I'm not like that. I want deep conversation. And I loved the ability of chatting with people. And so I just threw myself at it. And not to blow my own horn, in Australia at that point in my life and career, I did extremely well. I ended up moving to the capital city. I ended up managing 3 hair salons for the most amazing, inspirational woman that I've ever had the opportunity to work with. And she gave me the hairdressing world. She put me on stage. She put me in competitions. And so I have a love for the craft. I have a love for the ability. I have a love for chatting with people. But as we get older as hairdressers, so do these. These get old. These get old. So if you're thinking about the constant movements we do as hairdressers, some of us can last a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Others get early RSI, repetitive strain injury. And so that's what I myself am suffering with now. I might get a spasm and my fingers will be locked in this position for a while. And so this is how I got into personal training and nutrition, because I wanted to figure out how to take care of myself better. But yeah, I've had to start slowing it down now. You know, one person a day, maximum two, just to keep my love for the craft alive, and my passion for the creativity behind it. And so I've got one here in Siem Reap, and I've got another small salon that I open up once a month in a city about 60 kilometers from here called Battambang, which I'm actually heading to on Tuesday. I've got a small clientele up there, so I have the opportunity to travel Cambodia and open small salons for a period of time, cut hair, come home. So it's like my kind of side hobby that makes a bit of money on the side now.
Amazing. Next question is, which talent do you wish you had?
I wish I could sew and make clothes. Like, I wish I had that ability. I can create space. I can design a space. I can conceptually come up with meals, cook meals, make a cafe space really beautiful. Yeah, I'm good at that. I am so good at that. But if you gave me material and a sewing machine and you said to me, put the things together and tell me what will look good, that's where I just totally fail. I am terrible at it. But a very good girlfriend of mine who's just so spectacular at being able to just go into a material shop and go, boop, 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 take it to a tailor and just make the most incredible outfit. I wish I had more of a vision when it comes to being able to tailor clothes. I think that's being a hairdresser, as I said, being so tactile and creating with my hands, but then not being able to take that skill and put it into, it's something that I wish I had. I think it would be so cool to be able to make your own clothes. And so much more sustainable.
Always.
Always.
Ready for the last one?
Yes, I'm ready.
Last question. Okay, David, before the last question, let's pretend now I'm going to come to your coffee, to have a coffee, to have a moment, to enjoy your establishment, your coffee. What's the name again?
The Little Red Fox Espresso.
The Little Red Fox Espresso. If I would come there, what's something unique about the place that people always gonna remember? Something that's, sticks out compared with other places over there.
Brilliant question. Really brilliant question. This is something that I'm very big on, because there are 101 cafes in Siem Reap, and some of them are also very, very, very good. But the reason I believe ours has stuck the test of time is that we've stood really, really, really strong on what we believe our values and what our values are in the cafe, and that is expressing not only our level of social responsibility and environmental responsibility, but also creating space. As I said, I mentioned before, I love creating space. So something that we've done at the cafe is that every single thing that is in this space is made in Cambodia, recycled from Cambodia, has some element of Cambodian history. Basically, the cafe space itself is a museum. If you catch me, we could spend literally 40 minutes walking through and I could tell you the story of every single tiny thing that is throughout the cafe. It all has a story. It all has a reason. It's all come from somewhere. And it's, that's one of the most massive things about the cafe. It's extremely characteristic because there's just so many bits and pieces happening everywhere. And we're also one of the few cafes in Siem Reap that actually uses Cambodian coffee beans. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. There are 3 other places in town, I'm not going to lie, but we are one of the few that will only use Cambodian and Southeast Asian coffee beans. So that's a big thing as well. We believe this region has an incredibly unique flavor when it comes to coffee that isn't showcased around the world. I don't think a lot of people realize that Cambodia does have great coffee. It's really good. It's strong. Like it's strong. Yeah.
I'm gonna wake up straight away. Whoops. I'm waiting.
Oh yeah, trust me, trust me. I go traveling, and as I said, I've traveled a lot, but I still stand by. I'm so happy when I have my own coffee in my own cafe. Yeah, yeah. I'm not being a coffee snob. I'm not one of those people to lean across a coffee machine and go, tell me about your machine and what coffee beans do you use. But I'll stand by it. I do think we have some of the best coffee.
Amazing. Good. Last question is, do you have any nicknames?
Oh Lord, yes. So there is in Australia. I used to be known as Red Fox. Reason being, I used to have red dreadlocks.
Right.
That's where the name for the cafe came from. But I would say here, my friends would call me Daewoo.
Okay.
Daewoo. My staff, however, like to refer to me in a. It's all tongue in cheek, but there is a word in Asia called katoy. Katoy, katoy. It can be a condescending word if you use it in that context, but it can also be a bit of a nub and a jab. And it's basically saying, you fag. Yeah, that's basically what it's saying. Katoy can mean gay, it can mean lady boy, it can mean effeminate, it can mean queer. It's like me saying to another gay person, "Oh, shut up, you fag." If it's meant in love and joy, it is not in any way offensive. And that is not how my staff message it, mean it by any way, shape, or form. But yes, they do refer to me as a joke as, "Oh, please come to work." Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so then let's play now the word association game. Okay, I'm going to give away some words. Just tell one word that comes to mind. One word for family.
Support.
Money.
Unnecessary.
Love.
Hard.
Can be.
Ooh.
Life.
Exciting.
Sex.
Awesome. Yeah.
Wow. Politics.
A mess.
Religion.
Complicated.
Fear.
Conceptual.
One word for friendship.
Necessary.
Desire.
Ooh. First thing that came to my mind was tempting.
Okay. Regret.
I have a few. A few, yeah.
Success.
Hard work.
Wish.
Star.
One word for happiness.
Joy.
One word for Australia.
Home.
One word for Cambodia.
Home.
One now. The Little Red Fox Cafe. One word.
A Little Red Fox Espresso Cafe.
Cafe.
My life. My life. My baby. My baby. My baby. Yeah, yeah.
Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your best friend for a coffee on your cafe, and I'm going to ask your best friend, what is the most beautiful thing about David, and what's something that he still needs to work on, to improve on? What your best friend would say?
Gosh, I'm thinking about Nida. She lives literally one floor down. Can I go and ask her? Yeah. What would Nida say? I think she would say the best thing about me is also the one thing I have to work on. I have to think. I would say I'm incredibly focused and I'm driven. Focused, driven, but that can also be a detrimental thing as well, because I can also forget to stop and pause, which is referring to what we said before.
Yeah.
So I think there is that thing where he can certainly enjoy life. He can certainly, when you get him away from the things that he has to do, he can enjoy life and be present in that moment. But a lot of the times he works to the point of sometimes forgetting what's around him.
Wow. Do you see some work in progress regarding that, to slow down a little bit?
Well, I think the thing is, at the end of the day, I think if you consider your life being done and dusted with no growth, then, get ready for your coffin.
That's so
Because
true.
if, it's all about, life is all about working on yourself and growing and, becoming more confident in the person that you actually are. And when you're on the right track, because that's when the biggest challenges present themselves. And those are the things you have to work on. So yeah, of course, there's so many more things I have to learn and so many more mistakes I'll have coming my way.
Amazing. Let's
Mhm.
play now, David, and the magic box, and you can ask me a question. Hey, David, you can ask me a question now.
Okay, well, I want to know. So you can
Mhm.
either choose a book or a movie, preferably a book, though, if you are a book reader. Are you a book reader?
Yes,
Ah,
yes.
yes, great. That's my library just here. So I want you to tell me, what is your favorite book
Yep.
and why?
Right. Amazing question. And the first thing that came to my mind, the first book that's actually I was talking about this book the other day because I read this book, The Alchemist, with by Paulo Coelho, The Alchemist. I don't know if you
I
read it.
think I do know it. I haven't, but I think I definitely yeah, yeah, yeah.
The Alchemist. So I actually I was saying that I read it like a few years ago, and I'd like to read it again with this time of my life, because sometimes you read book in a different part of your life and you see a
Hmm,
different.
hmm.
The book at the time, I remember talking about being spiritual. I remember about that, how how spiritual can be, the connection that you can have with people, with the world, with the place where you are living. And sometimes we don't see message out there, and connecting with the world, with the things. And again, it's about um, pursue life like in a growth that you can uh, put yourself in a better position. You can grow with yourself. Sometimes we stalk ourselves, and we should watch ourselves more and more. And the book is all about that. It's about your growth. It's about you being more spiritual, connect with yourself. It's about connect with yourself more and more. So The
I think I
Alchemist,
might like to read that as well.
absolutely,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
another.
yeah.
It's The Alchemist, one of the very well known worldwide. Paulo Coelho, the Brazilian writer. Yes, it's very spiritual, and I've learned a lot there. How can you be more connect with yourself, with other people as well? And this surrounded you, like things surround you that sometimes you are not. You are literally living a life with you do your things, but you forget to connect, deeply connect
Yes. Hmm.
with yourself, sometimes mostly with yourself. So that's a book that had a big impact on me. And actually I might have somewhere here as well. I need to read it again because I would love to see how I would see the message in a different way, because it's been a while now and I was younger at the time, and I'd love to read it again. So yeah, The Alchemist for sure. The Alchemist is a book that left a big impact in my life, and I remember like reading it, and I finished so fast because yeah, I was so into it. I couldn't wait to start it again and finish because it was a very powerful book. Yes, The Alchemist.
Wow, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome.
David, did you enjoy the interview?
I loved it. I really, really, really loved it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. You were very sweet and very kind. When I approached it for the first time, you were straight away, yes, let's do it. I like the idea. Thanks so much for
As
bringing
I
your
said to you,
energy.
I love the idea of chatting. I love talking with strangers when I get the opportunity to, and to kind of enter. I didn't watch too many of the YouTube things at all. I was like, oh, I got the concept, stop, because I wanted to be able to experience this
Of
with no
course.
preconceived notion. So yeah, thank you. It was really, really great.
Before you go, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
This one's super easy. I heard this one day from one of my mentors when I said to her that I was thinking about picking up my life and selling everything in Australia and moving on. And I was terrified about the idea. And she turned around to me and told me one of her favorite quotes. And she said, if your dream doesn't scare the absolute shit out of you, then you're not dreaming big enough.
Amazing. I love
Yeah.
that. I love I do, because when you're gonna do something in your life, a challenge, take a new path or anything, if you don't have this fear inside, this butterfly that scares you, oh my god, it's not the point to do it. Because if
No.
you if you feel this way, it's because you are the right path. That's how I
It
see it.
is, and that's the thing. I say to people all the time when they're about to take, a gigantic leap into opening a business or moving overseas or just putting their life behind them and moving forward, that fear that you have, it isn't fear. It's actually excitement. You've got to turn that around and look at it and say, like, no matter what you do, if you end up with $5 in your back pocket, you're going to make it work, because that feeling is what's going to push you to make it work. And so if you feel that about an idea, a dream that you have, go for it. Go for it, because it will work. It will work. It'll be hard. It's not going to be an easy journey, but it will work. Quickly jumping on that, I know that we're wrapping it up quickly, because obviously you're someone who has left home and is now based somewhere else, but obviously you must have times that you miss home as well. I had this beautiful thing come up on Instagram 2-3 days ago, and I'm still thinking about it. And it was just this beautiful message that goes, you know, there are people out there in the world who left home and never went back, and they're now residing in another country that's not quite home, but it is home. Yeah. But they also don't want to go back home.
Yes.
And these people live in the in-between.
Yeah.
Not Stranger Things, not the upside down, but we live in the in-between. And it's a magical place to be, because we suddenly realize, without sounding too stupid, that wherever we are in the world, we can truly make home.
Totally. 100%.
And I think so many people are scared to leave home, but they don't realize the whole world can be home, because as long as you're with yourself,
home is the place where you make home. That's how I see it. Yeah,
that's it. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, David, and we keep in touch.
Thank you. It was amazing. I hope to chat or do something else in the future as well.
I see you for that ride, okay, for the trip.
Give me some warning so I can take time off from the cafe.
Amazing.
Thank you so much, William. Have a good night. Thank you. See ya.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why you'd like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye-bye. See you next time.